You guys released your last album as well as your first. Well, I didn't check this actually. You released this album on your own label, Goremount Records, and the first album.
Right, you're right. Facts.
Right. Goremount Records. Is that right?
Yeah.
What kind of challenges and benefits is that? That's like a really examy question. Challenges and benefits.
Challenges. Well, money and just time, because it's very time consuming. Like between me and our manager, that's pretty much what we do most of the time. It's just kind of that, like heading up the label business. That just the logistical kind of getting the albums ready, releasing PR, blah blah blah, and then but everyone in the band kind of has a job. That's kind of how we have to function. Everyone has to do something and be valuable in some way in order for us to exist as a band. Because
I mean, there's a really good NoFX song about running their own label, isn't there? On their album with the yellow one, and it's like, oh, it's all great. You get all the money, blah blah blah, and then at the end it says, but you have no time and you have no life, and nobody gives a shit and all that sort of stuff. So it's like it's kind of like. We didn't do it on purpose, though. We literally did it because no one wanted to sign us.
And that wasn't the initial. The initial thing was more like we got a lot of heat from like a bit of press, and we were like, "Fuck, we need to release an album." And then like we weren't really ready to go to labels, so we were just like, "Fuck, we have to do it." And then the second album was that reason.
The second album was fully that reason.
But it was. Yeah, but it's good. Obviously, you get creative freedom, and you get to like that. It's given us the opportunity to do something a little bit different, because the rock music industry, especially right now, is pretty mundane.
I mean, man, you wouldn't have been able to release a 16-track concept album on a real label.
No, totally. Like, well, literally, we couldn't. Like, we got the album. Like, dude, like, so we want this there. They're like, well, fucking hell, that's really long, and that's pretty ridiculous. Like, can you just like write something that sounds like Bruno Mars, please? We were like, oh.
Yeah, but however, like, we
easily,
sold
but I don't
way more records of this album than we did the first album. We sold like the same amount of the entire first album that we sold in like 2 months with the new album.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's only been out. What, 5 months?
It's been a really, really big success. It was a massive pain in the ass to get out.
Where did we get
It's been really good.
17.
Yeah, we were 17.
The rock charts and stuff. There's the rock charts, but like
the album chart would have been.
I think if we'd literally, we would have charted in the top like 100 if we'd sold like a handful more albums.
Oh really?
It was really, really close.
And I think
literally a handful. Yeah.
I think what a lot of fans waited to do is buy the album when we played shows as well.
Yeah,
it's a different climate now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. A lot of the bands we talk to are like DIY bands as well.
Yeah.
Not quite as established as you guys, or like kind of. It's not really like a record label that they have in the conventional sense. They just record music and then just get someone to press it or something. But it's like a growing trend. Like I read an article the other day that said indie labels are actually outselling major labels for a lot of albums.
Yeah, no, they are. And rock
just want to make money, so they don't.
Yeah.
And they want to stick with the safe option. They don't want to go outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely.
But not realising that obviously trends move so quickly that their comfort zone is, might work for a month or so, but it's depleted after that. But they'll still stay within that limited sort of framework for years or so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like people buy that many records by like Rita Ora or anything.
Well, it depends.
They probably download stuff.
Yeah.
Or listen
no, she's on The Voice now, so people are probably buying her.
I know, but like in the way that people used to buy records by Madonna and like shit like that. Like the reason people buy our records is because they they want to help us out. They still buy like our stuff because they respect what we do. Like, whereas people that are fans of like these massive artists, they don't give a shit about the artist. They just want to get it for free. They want to listen to it. Where
it's
they
almost
can.
all casual listening now, isn't it? Other than like when you have that kind of like our fan base, when you have people who are really channeled into one sort of thing. Like it seems like. Yeah, there's like kind of the music demographic people who listen to it is way more casual now because you can be because it's so much easier.
They still make mad money on sync deals and stuff like that.
Totally.
Well, pop music used to be great, like the 80s, even the 90s. Britpop was, kind of that's kind of when it started going downhill. But Nirvana, like Nevermind, was a pop album.
Yeah,
it was major label.
Green Day,
undeniably.
I mean, you go back to the 80s. Thriller is a pop album, but it's also one of the greatest albums of all time.
There was a reason that they released like 6 or 7 songs as a single out of a 9-track album.
Exactly. Whereas now Beyonce has just released an album, but that's not that's not Michael Jackson level. Like
No.
people love her, but she's very specifically R&B and doesn't stray out that genre. Whereas
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, you had "Beat It," which is a rock song.
Yeah,
It's
Well, he
literally
had massive crossover. He had the like pop artists, particularly back then. They had like more scope, almost,
could
isn't it?
take
Like
risks
besides
as well.
genre, like Michael Jackson and Prince and stuff would happily
But the
incorporate rock and all sorts of things.
The
in their
ironic
sound.
thing that is though with Thriller, like that saved the music industry because he was willing to take risks and he did it and he saved the music industry with that album.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s, everything was going to shit after all the excess of the 70s, which is exactly the same as what's happening now. Everyone in the 90s, they went, oh shit, we can sell CDs. They're so cheap to make. We're going to flog them like crazy. They weren't ready for the digital revolution. And what you need is, I'm holding my powder while I'm saying this, what you need is a massive artist to save the industry again by taking risks and not just sounding like every single other person.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, except Sam Smith, who seems, I really like Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, I think he's great.
I
just
fucking
think,
hate him. Fucking hate Sam Smith.
I just think he's kind of kicking a lot of things in the arse. The fact that he's a gay, fat loser who's actually doing well. Do you know what I mean? Though?
This is a compliment.
No, you know what I mean? Though? That's
No, yeah, no.
I do know what you mean.
He's
It's
a
a
risk.
risk. Breaking boundaries.
He's
Yeah.
literally bucking the trend.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He is incredibly successful because he actually makes like good music, and people aren't taking note. Like I'm a fat loser. I'm not gay, unfortunately. Maybe that would get us in there. You know what I mean? Like,
But it's like he is there because he's talented.
yeah,
That's what
he's
you're saying,
talented,
isn't it?
and that's a very exciting thing that someone could be there just because they're talented.
Yeah.
And he has good songs, and he dresses well as well. That's quite good. He makes an effort. Do you know what I mean?
His parents are incredibly rich, though,
Are
so
they?
that gives him a help.
That probably helps as well.
His mum is like a
Damn it.
top investment banker or something.
That's
so-
taken a little bit.
I wish
of
I
a
had
on
a
sales.
banker. For my
Yeah.
paper.
Also, a little bit of trivia about
Yeah, I was taking the
Thriller.
lead out of my pencil.
He's got Thriller trivia.
Thriller trivia.
Go on.
Quincy Jones, who's produced the album,
Yeah.
hated Billie Jean, hated it, and didn't want it to be on the album. Michael Jackson was like, "Nope, that is going on the album."
Really?
Best song on there? Well, no, Beat It is.
I was
But
the same with
How quickly you changed that. No,
Is that the
fucking
same
beat
with
was
it.
great.
Sweet Child of Mine? Didn't Slash write that for a joke?
really,
I think he wrote that.
I've heard that he hates
crappy
it.
riff that I wrote.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Axl Rose was like, "That's great," and then they made it a song. And the same with
That kind of sounds like Guns N' Roses as a band now.